Chris, you're a dad now,
I'm
so
a dad,
you're
yeah.
out of the game.
Yeah. That's what makes it even more edgy, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
When you've got 3 little kids, you go like, fuck that. It's just like... There's a lot of things that I write, or the articles that I write, when I just kind of, when sort of, you know, my kids go like, oh, did you do this, Dad? I'm like, yeah. It's, I'll put it away, you read it when you're a bit later.
You are quite slogany though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yourself.
I think, I mean, the reason, for me, the reason why it worked so well with Age of Chance, and again, this probably sort of speaks volumes, is that they seem to be, to me, like me. So the slogans, the images, the things that they're into, and all those things sort of fitted really well. You know, so, yeah, but yeah, quite slogany. I think it's the slogany thing. I think comes down to it's a process of distilling information down and distilling communication down, and you know, when you sort of say I didn't study to be a designer, well, a lot of the time I don't even know if I am a designer. Cue tittering from people who think it's fucking rubbish anyway. But you know
I don't think that. I don't think that people think you're rubbish.
I don't know, but
I think people think that, and I think that's the reason why people are here tonight. Well, no, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go Ubermensch or anything like that, although I did tweet that out today as a joke. I think that people are here because they think that your work is fantastic. I mean, going back to
They're
the
right.
age of, yeah, no, they are.
Right.
Yeah. Going back to the age of Chance, it was so unique. It was so different. I didn't realise until a few weeks ago that you had not studied to be a designer.
But I think that's you know, nicely set up there. Thanks very much, Chris. I think that's the reason why.
It's taken me 8 or 9 years to train to.
It's good. It's good. You're doing all right.
It's working.
Yeah, a bit more practice. But the but I don't think it's. I think it just is, in the same way that I say, I think really quickly. It's not like bragging. It's not something that I've like. I think you can brag about something if you trained really hard to do something. If you're a really fast sprinter, naturally, I don't think you've got there's. I don't see you've got any sort of bragging rights there because you just are. You've not tried. You can just happen to run really fast. I happen to be able to think really quickly. It's not. I didn't train to do it or anything like that. And to be honest, sometimes it makes me quite lazy. But I think the same thing. I mean, everybody's life is a unique set of circumstances, philosophically speaking, of course. But actually, I think that because I didn't train, but I'm really I just happen to be really into communication and why people do and people's motivations and how you can message things and how by you can distill communication down into slogans, or you can sort of expand it and extrude an idea out into sort of some long-winded thing. You can take a very simple idea and build a whole global campaign on it, and everything in between. But I think that you can't be taught that, at an art school or wherever you go. You can't be taught. It's there's that phrase, isn't there, where you can say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, and things like that. So you can teach somebody, you can say this is how you need to think, this is how you need to do it. But if it doesn't come naturally to them, then they won't do that. They'll find their own way, like the water trickling in. If water finds a way. And there was someone said recently, which I've taken it and claimed it as my own, obviously. But that whole point about I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, and I find it quite easy to understand things, or to problem solve. And the downside to that is that sometimes you get a little bit too confident that because you can do it, that.
It's like a mini Aphex Twin concert, though, wasn't it?
I'm kind of hoping that was a hairdryer and not the person. I mean, the hand dryer. Or something. Let's wait till they come out. Hey! None but the brave. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Yorkshire. Where
Stuff.
we've got
Oh yeah,
stuff,
so
that,
yeah, I mean, so
I'm sensing a bit of restlessness actually. Yeah. You need a wee? Who needs a wee? Hands up, who needs a wee? You can have a wee then. Just a therapeutic question now. What's going on inside for you when you then go for a wee? Because that seems a bit uncomfortable to me.
Because he's watching everywhere. Yes. The loo.
He's just a bloke sat up here with a microphone.
the door's
Colin
closed.
Compton. You just haven't got the bell.
I mean, the door's closed. If you're worried that I've got some power to see through that door, then those clothes are doing nothing.
I thought, because I don't really...
That wasn't to do with the Age of Chance.
No. Wasn't it?
in one way, maybe.
Right.
Anyway.
And I never prepared for this, as you know.
Do you want me to talk about Age of Chance a bit more?
No, I've done with that.
Okay, good.
Is there a band that you would, or is there something you would have liked to have worked with that you never got the chance to work with? Or is it not really like that for you, is it?
No.
Do they just kind of come in and, yeah.
It's a little bit like... So let's just say... it seems like some confessional. I really like Miles Davis' Electric Period, so you can look at those album covers and think, oh, maybe would like to do something like that. But actually, I think, well, I don't know, or less about say Parliament and Funkadelic or Pedro Bell stuff. I mean, I really like that, and I think that's great, and I think it suits Parliament and Funkadelic. So, but what I do naturally doesn't sort of suit them. So I can't divorce, so like, if you're going to go back to the old days, but One Nation Under Groove, I can't divorce that from the album cover, and in the same way that sort of some people say, well, they can't divorce, they kind of see Pop Will Eat Itself as in terms of the covers, or LFO in terms of the covers, and so there possibly is people, if I sat down and really thought, but in general, it's not something that I think, oh God, I wish I'd worked with that person or those people. Because quite often, one of the things I realise is that some of the music that I really like doesn't suit the kind of design that I kind of do naturally. And maybe there's something in that, but I've never really thought about it. But I don't. Yeah, no, not really. I'm not a kind of person that has favourites. People say, what's your favourite this and what's your favourite that? What's your favourite album cover you've ever done? I think, well, I've done thousands. I'm going to choose one. Having this idea of having favourites, just to me seems to be, like a real sort of have a negative impact on the fact that I could have the option of liking anything that I like, and sort of you just change your opinion like from one day to the next, or one changes one's opinion from one day to the next. So like if you say what's your favourite album of all time, and you have to answer it, I'm just going to say something that will be in the subset of albums that I think are really good as opposed to ones that I hate. But it depends on your mood, doesn't it, and how you wake up and what you're doing and where you are. So so the whole notion of having favourites or thinking about things that I'd like to have done doesn't really come into it, because I'm very much in the moment of what I'm doing now when I'm doing it, or things. So
it's always been like that for you.
Yeah, I've never sort of really got that whole. There was. This is relative, of course, but there was a really good episode. There's a really good episode of Ever Decreasing Circles, and but there was this conversation about kind of and sort of Martin, sort of the main guy, goes like, oh, what's your favourite jam? And that's and I always kind of think
it's a pretty limited choice though with jam. I mean,
you can put anything in jam, can't you? All sorts. Anyway, but. Anyway, so but I just sort of think, and I thought that really sort of summed up what I think about this whole idea of what does it matter? Well, if they give the question, well, you know, what sort of albums do you like? Well, even then, it's just why do you want to know? It's like kind of that doesn't define me or anything. It's just what's your favourite jam? What's your favourite album? What's your, you know, I don't know. What's your favourite position? What's your favourite curry? I don't know. I don't know.
But hang on a minute, you support Sheffield Wednesday, don't you?
Yeah. That's why you don't have favourites, because you're never going to be disappointed, aren't you?
What's going on Wednesday?
Ooh, probably about 13 places higher than what's going on with Leeds at the moment, I'd say.
Beat the leaders last night. It's only a matter of time.
You're going down, you know that, don't you?
No.
Yeah.
Even if we do, we'll come back up.
Well, you will do, and it might be a great thing for you. I'm not saying it with any pleasure, any more pleasure than is obvious. But
it's not what you were saying over there.
Seriously,
you were having a right laugh at me about last night.
Seriously, I think it's a shame that a city the size of Leeds and a team like Leeds United finds itself in this position that it does. You know, through mismanagement and all those things, and when money comes into it and all that. It's funny though, but the.
If we were in a pub about 100 yards away from here, what would be happening now would be a completely different.
It would, yeah.
Set of things with a whole different set of values.
It'd be a great time for you with a bit of analysis there, wouldn't it?
Indeed, it would. And these day by day.
And that kind of. Oh, no, I'm not going to. But I think it's the same. But it's actually kind of that raises another issue, and it's the same for Sheffield Wednesday and things like that. Is that there's a sense that fans have some entitlement because Leeds is a big city and has a history that kind of, we're actually really a Premier League team, and it's just like, you know, I've supported Sheffield Wednesday long enough, you know, to know that we're not a Premier League team anymore, and if we go up, then we've got to establish ourselves, because most of my 11-year-old son's friends, you know, kind of that sort of sense. I remember when I was his age, there were certain teams that you thought were always that they're Premier League teams, you know, and you know, so for him, like Hull City, or you know, is a Premier League team, you know, or West Bromwich Albion or Leicester is a Premier League team. I'm like, you know, it doesn't matter if they are or they're not, but it's just that perception, isn't it? I don't know if I've got talking about that, but it's blokes talking about football, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me then.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's me or everybody.